Hello, I'm R.E.Fort, and welcome back to my podcast and July's Featured Tracks playlist. For some reason, I really wanted to hear some blues and up-tempo grooves in July's playlist. So in this list, I've added these great tracks. Tired, Why Do I Keep Running Back to You, Chasing Aries, The Way You Move, and Why Don't You Just Let Us Play. You can find the links to this playlist on my website at refort.co/playlist, or find them on my YouTube Music, Spotify, Pandora, or Amazon Music sites. Let's get to the playlist. Starting us off is Tired from my CD, Living in Strange Times. The long name for this track is Tired of Not Being Seen. I really love this slow blues jam. On this track, I'm playing several instruments. My Fender Acoustic Electric for melody and chords, the solo, my Gibson SG. The keyboards are a grand piano sound and Hammond organ sound on melody and solo. That organ solo really ties in perfectly with the Gibson SG guitar solo. Let's give Tired a listen. Next up is Why Do I Keep Running Back to You from my CD, Smooth As I Wanna Be. This is an up-tempo, in-your-face blues track. When my brother Keith heard the rough draft, he suggested I add a Hammond organ sound to it. As you can tell, I fell in love with how that sounds up against my Fender Stratocaster I used for the melody and the solo. Let's give Why Do I Keep Running Back to You a listen. Next up is Chasing Aries from my CD 10. This acoustic blues jam is so sweet. All the guitar work on this track is my Fender Acoustic Electric. I love that bass guitar and the cool drum programming on this track too. As with some of my favorite tracks, I went for a simple mix of instruments focusing on the basics, a good groove, then let the guitars, bass, and keys tell the story. Let's give Chasing Aries a listen. Next up is The Way You Move. This is a blues jam with a hot bass line and great rhythm guitar work. Sometimes it only takes the right drum track or bass line to get a song moving. With The Way You Move, it was a little of both. I started playing around with some drum tracks, and the next thing I knew I was laying down the bass and the chord parts. This is a funky blues groove that has a lot of energy. Let's give The Way You Move a listen. The last track on July's playlist is Why Don't You Just Let Us Play from my most recent CD, Life on the Other Side. On this one, I wanted a big blues rock fusion track that would get you moving. Sometimes the song comes from the piano or the guitar, or in this case, the bass guitar. I was playing my bass and working with different drum patterns when the rest came to me. That drum programming was a blast to work on. I used the Gibson SG for the chords and the melody. I used my Fender Stratocaster for the solo at the end of the track. This track is big, loud, and in your face and a lot of fun. Let's give Why Don't You Just Let Us Play a listen. Well, I hope you enjoyed the episode and get a chance to listen to the full tracks on either my YouTube Music, Spotify, Pandora, or Amazon Music sites. Remember, you can find links to this playlist on my website, R.E.Fort.co/playlist. The music opening and closing this podcast is a track named So Cool from my CD 10. Thanks for listening, and as always, without music, life has no soul. Thanks.